Welcome back into the Rounding Third podcast, episode 233. Suspensions for you and you and you and you. I'm Nick, and we have Harrison. How are we doing tonight, Harrison?
I'm great, Nick. Feels like I walked into an Oprah episode, and you get a suspension, and you get a suspension.
Yeah, I mean, it was for us sitting here Thursday night and being like, well, I don't know how much news is going to happen over the weekend. It was pretty action-packed, so we are going to get into all of that.
It never fails us. When we think it's going to be quiet, it's not.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Before we get going, make sure you follow and like us on Facebook. You can subscribe on YouTube. You can also follow on Instagram, Rumble, and TikTok. You can also listen on Spotify and Apple Podcast or wherever you get your podcasts. We also have our affiliate sponsors, Dick's Sporting Goods, MLB Shop, and Lids. You can find these links on the tops of all of our socials. If you do shopping with these companies, please do so through our links. We get a nice little kickback with no additional cost to you. Just a fantastic way to support the podcast. And also, we have our Rounding Third merch. It is on Etsy. So if you search Rounding Third Baseball on Etsy, it's another great way to support us and to look good in some Rounding Third merch. All right. Here we go. We're going to get into it first. Captain.
The chat never fails.
Yeah. Who are you, Nick? CV Buckner? Oh, man. We will get to umpiring for sure soon. But it was, Yamamoto lost an immaculate. We'll get into it. And thanks, Scotty. Love you, buddy. Miss you so much. One of my buddies from Maine. So miss my Maine crew like crazy. All right. Here we go. Dennis Santana, if you saw my post, I put him out there with 2 boxing gloves on. He's out in the bullpen, and he takes a swing at the fan. So he's suspended for 4 games. Is it the fans' fault, or do players need to keep their composure better, or is it both? Is it both of these things?
I think it's Major League Baseball's fault, and I say that because Major League Baseball has insisted on creating this more intimate atmosphere. Bullpens are now tucked into the bleachers. You got fans surrounding them on all sides. You've got dugouts with people sitting right alongside them. And in many cases, you got little to no foul territory and the fans like right on top of the players. And I think given that, you're just opening yourselves up to people are getting closer to players. They can really get in close enough where they can't ignore them. And I think that's what you get. You get fans that are either just think they're funny, fans that are out of control, fans that are drunk, that are going to make their comments and be obnoxious. Like, I can't imagine warming up as an opposing pitcher in the 8th or 9th inning of a game in some of these bullpens with people 10 feet away screaming at me. I can't imagine that environment. Gone are the days of having space. And I think you just open yourself up to that.
Yeah. I mean, Scott says back here, yes, to both. It's the fans and it's the players. Like, and I agree. I agree with that. They are professional athletes. They hear stuff all the time, but everybody does have a breaking point, right? I mean, players are humans. We say this all the time. Players are human. It gets to a point, there's a line that gets crossed. It's all of that. Funny, out of control, and drunk. My trifecta went at the game. Yeah, I can see that. Game. The fans know where that line is, and they continually choose to cross it. Right? I
don't know that the fans truly understand where that line is, though. I think you look at the ticket, you look at. I mean, there's not even like they do any sort of like, there's no signage around the ballparks. There's no video they play of like, what is unacceptable fan behavior. I mean, we're in a world now, Nick, where people honestly like don't know what is acceptable. Like there's people have such a lack of self-awareness and such a lack of like, I just general people skills that you hear some. I mean, you've been to plenty of Red Sox games and heard what people in the bleachers are screaming. None of that's appropriate. Yeah. And in most cases, the ball player should go choke them out. But I do think at some point the fans own some of this problem. The players own some of this problem. MLB's created this problem. And I honestly, like, I don't know the full story from Dennis Santana. They haven't really shared what was said, what really happened. But I don't blame some of these guys for, getting frustrated and taking it into their own hands.
Yep. Yeah, Forrest says, I'm not saying they should be, but I'm surprised some fans don't get slapped around more when they do. That's all I'm saying. And then Nostalgic Baseball Geezer, I don't think the swing was even close. It was like, what, a 9.5-foot barrier between him and the bleachers?
It's a tall back wall.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't think, he took a swing, but I don't think he was close to the fan.
No.
And I think I was actually texting with Justin and Forrest. We were in that group chat, and we were talking about how, like, these kids are doing it for a viral moment. Like, they're trying to get under these guys' skins to provide that viral moment. I'm with you. Like, it is intimate, but and it's part of MLB's problem. But if we're not careful, we're going to be completely shut off from these guys with no access to the players at all, right? Like, you're not going to be able to get autographs because they're going to net in the entire thing. Hell, maybe even plexiglass the whole thing. So we have no shot at getting home run balls. You have no shot at foul balls because they've just netted in the entire arena. And it's just like watching them on TV with no access to the players. Now, if we don't want that to happen, it's going to keep going like this. It's brutal.
Yeah, and an interesting point by Justin there I just put up about, if you've been to a youth sports game, self-awareness has been gone. And this is, you're seeing more and more of this just like outrageous fan conduct, in the age of social media. But I think it's just the place that we're at. People have lost all concern for other human beings, and they're not afraid to just say whatever they want. But if you've seen some of these videos of parents going ballistic on umpires and stuff, some of these games like 9U, like a 9U game friggin' matters, and you're freaking out at the umpire. It's wild. It's wild what people view as appropriate. And I agree. There's a comment up here earlier, Captain, mostly the fans, like, they need to be grown-ups. Yeah, they do. I honestly think the ballpark should have more ushers down around areas like the bullpen. Yep. So when people are getting out of control, you can push them away. If you're going to let people get that close, you need to have some level of enforcement or oversight to make sure it doesn't get out of control. Was Dennis Santana right for taking a swing at a fan? No, absolutely not.
No.
But at the same time, how badly was he being kind of goaded by that fan? I have no idea. But I don't trust that the fan wasn't saying stuff that was wildly inappropriate to him and didn't deserve what was coming.
Yeah, this is the second or third instance this has happened this year. We talked about the Durant situation earlier in the year. That clearly crosses a line, right? We talked about it. Durant put himself out there, right? We know on the documentary, he puts himself out there, but he put himself out there to create awareness for mental health in general. And then that fan took it and clearly crossed the line. And we know what that fan said. For some reason, we don't know what this fan said. But I can't imagine it didn't cross the line to get a reaction like that. It wasn't like, hey, Santana, you suck. And then he's like, oh, yeah. And then he goes up into the stands. I feel like it had to have been something over the line to spark that type of a reaction.
Yeah, I think there's heckling and there's harassing. And I expect players know they're going to get heckled. They're going to be told that they suck. They hear all that stuff over and over on repeat everywhere they go. They've been hearing it since they're probably in high school. They're used to it. Like, they're used to hearing that stuff. But it's when you start to go after personal things and stuff like that, Durant situation. Yeah, we've heard, and I'm a Red Sox fan and not proud to admit it, but I've been in the bleachers hearing all kinds of racist stuff come flying out of there. It's just there is a group of people that view that as okay. Heckling is one thing, harassing is another. And when it turns personal, I think that the players show a lot of restraint when they don't react.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how it's fixed other than.
Well, interesting point from John. Apparently that guy is now suing. So it's, this was probably staged with his buddies holding their cameras out, their phones out to video it, to try to get something out of it. Whether it's like you mentioned the viral moment in the viral video, get a payday for the reaction. I mean, everybody's got an angle to this stuff now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And we gave Anthony Rendon a hard time when he went out at that fan in Oakland, but maybe we need to institute some sort of like a cage match where you can pull a fan out and show them what's what. I can't imagine. I can't imagine these people would ever say this on the streets to somebody, but they feel protected in the bleachers behind the net.
Yeah. 1,000%. It needs to stop at this point. Like, it's run its course. Just go and watch the baseball game that you paid $200 to sit at and just enjoy it. Like, leave these guys alone. Just watch the game.
Yeah, just heckle them. Just tell them they suck and leave it at that.
Yeah, but you don't even have to do that. You really don't. But
no, but this type of person,
yeah,
they're gonna have to say something.
Yeah, crazy. All right, let's get into the Mike Shildt, Dave Roberts, Robert Suarez suspensions, and that whole San Diego, Los Angeles debacle and handled poorly by the umpires and all of this. So
give me more of this in October, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, right. So all three of these guys were suspended. Roberts and Shildt for 1 game, Suarez 4 games for throwing at Shohei. Got to protect the prize. That's kind of what I put there. It started with a Tatis hit by pitch, right? Off the wrist, off the hand.
It did. Yeah, it came up and in and caught him on the arm.
And there weren't warnings issued there. It was the warnings that were issued after the Ohtani, correct?
Correct.
It was something weird like that.
Tatis got hit and people were kind of like, whoa, and then it was fine. And then when Ohtani got hit, warnings came out, people came out. Ohtani was waving people not to clear the benches. They cleared anyways.
So this is what's crazy to me is Suarez still got a 4-game suspension for hitting Ohtani. And that was because there weren't warnings issued, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, so they suspended Suarez because he had come inside on Ohtani and missed, and then came inside and got him. So they viewed he was intentionally throwing at Ohtani, where they viewed the Tatis HBP as more of a fastball that came up and in that got away.
Gotcha.
So that was the ruling, was that he was absolutely intentionally throwing at Shohei.
Okay, well, that's fair because we have seen that before where guys missed and he's like, crap. And then now you hit him and you're like, okay, well, obviously you're throwing at him. So
yeah, it was, if it not for that, I think you would have probably not gotten suspended. But when you miss the first time and it's like 6 inches from his kneecaps and then you hit him a second time, they usually can figure out what you're trying to do.
Yeah. But the scuffle broke out when Shildt and Roberts started making contact with each other. That's when like the benches started to clear and you're just like, oh, here we go.
They're screaming at each other like, I'll fight you, I'll meet you out back. Like it was crazy.
Yeah, I've never seen Dave Roberts that heated. He was smoking at the ears for sure.
And I don't even know why. Like Dave Roberts, you've been in baseball a bazillion years. You knew what was coming.
Yeah.
Like you don't hit Tatis and get away with it. Like somebody's getting plunked. And who's the most obvious target? Shohei. So there's no surprises here.
Yeah. John says this was a 2-day blow up and every pitcher should be fined and suspended. Yeah.
John, Shohei had money on the fact he'd get hit.
Yeah. Yeah. This is probably honestly the best rivalry going in baseball right now. And honestly, I don't think it's close.
This is like peak Red Sox Yankees. Like this is back in the early 2000s Sox Yankees.
Yeah.
They hate each other. The fans hate each other. All of it.
Yeah. The polar opposite teams here. I mean, I'd say the Dodgers are definitely on the Yankees side of it, if you will. Last year, the Dodgers had a chance to put them away, and they didn't. Shades of 03 Red Sox Yankees. Like that's what that reminded me of. It's very
big
similar.
Brother, little brother. It's the same thing we lived through with Sox Yankees. That was so good for, I don't know, probably a 10-year stretch.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, now it's kind of fizzled out because the Red Sox are mostly irrelevant, but the Padres are the same spot. Like the Dodgers are the 800-pound gorilla. The Padres are coming for them every single year. They get bounced by them. Every single year it's a battle. It's awesome.
It absolutely is. And I think this is far from over. They're going to meet up again. It's going to be heated. It's going to carry over.
If they don't meet up in October, I'll be so disappointed.
Yes, I agree. All right. So here we go. This is what I kind of brushed by quickly earlier. Yamamoto loses a bid for an immaculate inning with a blown call by the umpire. That was literally right down the middle. I'm talking middle, belt high. Yep. Might have been a little bit higher than belt
96 high. At the belly button, maybe. I mean, it was perfect. You couldn't. That's where guys would put that ball on a tee when they're warming up. It was perfect.
I was just like I don't know how you missed that call. So my question to you guys in the chat and to you, Harrison, will the umpires ever be held accountable for these types of calls?
I mean, they say the report card's a way to do it, but they don't actually take any action from it until you put in the robo ump system and allow these guys to challenge pitches. There's nothing that's going to get done. And, I'm still hopeful we'll see that next year. There's still a lot of work to do to make that a reality, but until you let a guy challenge a pitch, there's no real way to keep these guys accountable. And again, like I'm not trying to nickel and dime these guys on balls that are like a paper thin off the corner. Like if it's close enough to be a strike, you should swing. But we've said all along, like this is to fix the egregious calls, the strikes that are 6 inches out of the zone, the balls that are right down the middle. Like you can't let that stuff happen. If you get rung up on a ball that is it's an inch off the plate, well, it's close enough. You should swing. You're taught that as a kid.
Yeah.
I don't have any sympathy for guys that are looking for walks, but a 96 mile per hour fastball down the middle, like you got to be able to call that.
I mean, I could have made that call. I really could have. Like it was that blatant of a strike. Like wasn't even close to the top of the strike zone at all. But Forrest is a good point. I would think the one thing players union and the owners can agree on is that the umpires suck. 1,000%.
Yep.
And hopefully the ABS going in 2026 is going to fix this mistake. And that's granted, that's if the teams have a challenge left. Because if they're going to do it like they did in spring training, you get 2 challenges, I think they did in spring training. If you're correct, you keep it. But if you're wrong twice, you lose them and you're done for the game. So,
which I like. Don't abuse it. This is for the this is only to fix the bad calls. We're not trying to nickel and dime this outer edge crap. And the one thing that drives me crazy about all this, and GX9 here nailed it, is the way these umpires make it about themselves.
Yeah.
And like the minute you ask them a question or just ask where it was, they make a big friggin' production out of it. And they're throwing guys out for literally just saying, hey, where was that? I remember a day where you could turn to the umpire and go, hey, was that in or out? Was that up or down? Was that low? And they'd tell you, or you could just say, hey, where was that?
Yeah. Where did that
say? Oh, yeah, just inside. Okay, great. Like, and that helps me understand their strike zone as a hitter. I would do that. I would do that all the way through college. You sometimes get a call and be like, oh, hey, Blue, where was that? Can you tell me? I'm just looking to understand. And they'd answer you. But you ask these guys at the major league level and it becomes a fight. And it's I'm literally just asking for clarification, which you should be able to provide. And another comment here from John, like in this lockout, the players absolutely should be going after the umpiring system. If you're going to lock out for probably a whole year, go big, go for everything. And I love the idea Max Scherzer had. Like make it one big pool of umpires. The top ones get promoted, the bottom ones get demoted.
Yeah.
And you only bring the best to Major League Baseball, because right now guys like CB Buckner, who we mentioned earlier, he is so terrible, and he's also just so terrible to the players and managers. He doesn't answer their questions, doesn't talk to them. He just throws you out. Like you can't challenge him or talk to him.
Well, I mean, Reese McGuire was also a little douchey today to CB Buckner. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I didn't catch all of it.
So there was a ball that was off the plate, and he frames it. He doesn't even bring it all the way back to the plate, and he just holds it there. He frames it and holds it, and holds it, and holds it some more.
Yep.
And then calls time and starts walking back out to the mound, and Buckner takes his mask off. And then Reese looks over his shoulder, and then that's when he gets tossed. Because he was showing up CB Buckner. So I defend him throwing out McGuire in that case. Like that's showing me up. And by the way, it was a ball. So your ass was wrong. Get out of the game.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
once CB Buckner was right. I'm actually gonna defend him there. But
yes, that's the one time out of
10
that CB Buckner. The CB Buckner didn't overreact.
Yeah. But
I think the guy like CB Buckner with that reputation gets that reaction more than other guys.
Yes, 1,000%. And John O'Hara, I 1,000% agree with this point. Like I could not do it. These guys have 14 plus inches of lateral movement, vertical drop. It's gross, and they're throwing it at 100 miles an hour. There's no way I could sit there with a ball on the corner and be like, ball or strike. I would be what Max Scherzer was doing the other day and flipping a coin and being like, ball. I would be. It's ridiculous. Now, the ones right down the heart of the plate, like the one that was missed to Yamamoto, I'm pretty confident I could get that one, even if it was thrown at 150. Like it was that much of a blatant strike.
And it was a straight fastball. Like thing didn't move.
Yeah.
And I think to your point, John, and I said it before, like I'm not trying to nickel and dime the guys that are missing by an inch off the edge. Like if it's that close, you should swing the bat. For me, it's the pitches like we saw Angel Hernandez ring up Wyatt Langford on 2 sliders that were 8 inches off the plate. Yamamoto throwing 96 miles per hour down the middle. Max Fried last year throwing 95 down the middle. Like this is to fix the really bad calls. I don't want to see them turn this into nickel and dime these guys on every ball that's just a hair outside. Because I have no sympathy for these guys that take strike 3 on a ball that is like a sliver off of the outside corner, because you're taught as a kid, if it's close enough, you got to swing. Like that's your job, is to protect the plate.
It's not even that. It's the 2 pitches they took down the middle before they argued getting rung up on strike 3. You had 2 pitches to hit, dude. You had 2 pitches to hit, belt high, middle of the plate. You took them, and then you're going to argue about a pitch that is an inch off the corner. No, sorry. That's a lost at bat. Get out of here. You can go back to the dugout.
Yeah, I can't stand the guys that go up there looking for a walk. It's what drove me crazy about JD Drew, and why Sean and I will never agree on JD Drew. It's what drives me crazy about a lot of the hitters today is they are perfectly content taking 2 fastballs down the middle, going down 0-2 like that, and then having to fight back. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like I miss the days where guys like Nomar would ambush you on the first pitch if you're going to throw a lazy get me over fastball.
Yep. Yeah, Captain says nobody is saying umpiring is easy, but the constant bad calls and the BS attitude some of them have. And I think that's where I am mostly on this. Listen, bad calls are going to happen. It's baseball. We see it all the time. Next year, hopefully, the ABS fixes that. But for me, it is the quick igniters on these guys, the quick triggers, the whole Walker Buehler and spacing on the umpire there.
I can't remember his name now either, but that was a disaster.
But he came out looking to toss Walker Buehler out. Like you don't act like that as an umpire.
No,
that's not your plan. Right.
Totally.
And we do see that a lot, unfortunately. The umpire egos need to go away. Like I said, bad calls are bad calls. They're going to happen. I've been rung up on a lot of bad calls in my career. It happens. Can't do anything about it except for go back to the dugout and try again next at bat. But it's the guys with the egos that ring you up on strike 3, 10 inches outside, and then don't own up to the mistake. They just toss you out of the ball game if you turn and look at them funny. Like,
yeah, it's this whole holier than thou. You can't talk to me. I'm more important than you mentality these umpires have that it just grates on me. because honestly, like, hey, CB Buckner, nobody came to the game to watch you.
Right.
The game is better when we don't know you're there. Like, can you
Right.
just do your job? And can you do it as like a normal human being that can answer a question?
Yeah.
But no, these guys can't. Like, they are unfallible. They're unchallengeable.
Yeah.
And the minute you even like look at them a little bit cross-eyed, they give you the heave ho.
Yep. Forrest, this is a great question. I'm old school. You guys know that. Oh, really? No clue. Anyways, I don't like the idea of pitcher batter umpire dynamic being broken by intervening with technology. That's fair. That's a fair opinion. But then my next thing is I just want umps to be better. But how does that happen? I mean, I really do like the promotion and demotion thing that Scherzer came out with a couple of years ago now, I think.
I think it was last year. I think you're right. It was 24.
Something like that. Yeah. But the union will never let that fly. I mean, that will unfortunately never be a thing. It should be. It absolutely should be.
Players get promoted and demoted. You either perform or you don't.
Yeah, and they do have a players union. So I don't know. Maybe that's something that they could put in place. But if you just rank these guys after every month of baseball, so that gives them what, 8 series?
Yeah, should
roughly 8 series in a month. You demote the bottom, say 10% of umpires, and promote the top 10% of the minors, or 5%, whatever percentage you want. Because I don't think you want too much shuffling of umpires between leagues, right?
I mean, you don't want like this revolving door of like always having new people coming in, because you do want like crews to begin to develop some rapport and get comfortable with each other. So,
well, they don't have crews anymore. The umpires kind of go all over the place.
Yeah, but you got guys that have been around a long time that have worked together. It's like
that's fair.
They have that credibility in that relationship to a certain extent. But I think it's as simple as that. You rank all the umpires for the month, and then the top X number of umpires are, on the major league schedule next month, and everybody below that line is on the minor league schedule next month. And the only way to get back is to perform.
Yeah. I don't
kind of is what it is.
Yeah. I don't hate it. It's an escalation issue. They need to react with a similar energy they're confronted with. Yeah, that's a fair point, because you do see umpires now. Not all. I do see some umpires honestly sit there and take a jawing from the managers or players.
Yeah.
Before they give the heave ho. We're not talking about all of them. But
again, that's the problem.
Was it Estabrook? Mike Estabrook with Bueller?
Yes, it was Estabrook.
It just popped in.
Yeah,
that's how my brain works. But like, that is an escalation issue. He was out there pushing Walker Bueller to cross that line so he can throw him out. Like, there's no need. He can sit back and just take it for a minute and just, put his hand up, stay behind home plate, and get ready for the next pitch. But some of them don't do that. So,
and I think again, like with everything, we are literally talking about 20% of the umpires that cause 80% of the problems.
Yeah.
And because I think when you look across the board, the majority of these major league umps are very good.
Very good.
There are some that are exceptional that we don't talk about, because why would you? It's not exciting to talk about the guys that are really good.
And you don't know their names because they're good.
That's true. Yeah. These guys, they blend in because they do the job so well. So again, like, we're talking about a small sample set of umpires that cause most of the problems, and it's a lot of times it's the same cast of characters year after year that we're talking about. Angel Hernandez was the lightning rod for all those years. CB Buckner is now the lightning rod again. It comes and goes.
Yeah,
but it's not everybody. There are many good umps.
Yeah. I wish the Windlestat School of Umpiring wasn't just a place for failed police officers. Yeah. 3 umpires were former cops. They just wanted something where they just thought they had control. Yeah, brutal. You just don't want that type of mentality behind the plate and in charge of a game where you can escalate an issue. That doesn't need to be escalated.
No, you
But-
need an umpire that is cool and calm, that can let things roll off their back, that can accept the role for what it is. Like, you are there to facilitate the playing of a game, not to take it over, not to control it, just to make sure the game happens.
Yeah, 1,000%. All right, Clayton Kershaw, 8 Ks until he gets to 3,000. Will we ever see 3,000 ever again after this batch of Kershaw, Verlander, Scherzer gets done?
I mean, I think Sale's got a shot if he can stay healthy for a few more years.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, kind of this,
I think
batch of pitchers.
I think there are guys that could do it. I just question the longevity, the ability to stand up. A guy like Spencer Strider could absolutely have 3,000 Ks. A guy like Garrett Crochet could absolutely have 3,000 Ks. A guy like Tariq Skubal could absolutely have 3,000 Ks.
Skubal's got 765 right now, and he's 28.
Yeah. So I mean, if he continues on that 200K run, I mean, he'd pitch deep into his 30s. Could he do it? Absolutely. Will he hold up? Probably not. And I think that's the problem. I think you've got all kinds of guys with the talent to do it, but they're all going to be, picking up a Tommy John here and there and missing too much time to get there. Gage
Wood. Yeah. Logan Gilbert. I mean, maybe. I think, again, Paul Scanes. I mean, I think he could get there, but like you said, it's hard because you're going to miss 18 months in your career at some point.
At least once. Now it's becoming more likely twice.
Yeah. For me, after this batch of players go, there it is. I don't think we're going to see another 3,000. Just like we're never going to see another 300 win guy.
Yeah, 300 wins will never happen again.
Baseball's changed, right? Because all these high velocity guys that have the high strikeout numbers aren't going 7+ innings. They're going 5, maybe 6, and that's it. So you have a chance every outing, you have a chance for 15 strikeouts at the absolute max, 21 or 18 at the absolute max if you're going the 6 innings. You're not going to strike everybody out in your outing either.
No.
I mean, we haven't really seen that many 10K strikeout games.
No, I want to say Strider the day went 6 and struck out 12.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen a handful of them, but we haven't seen a ton of guys hit double digits.
No, because these guys don't go deep enough. It's hard to get double-digit Ks in 6 innings because you're only getting 18 total outs.
Right.
Double-digit Ks mean you're striking out like almost 2/3 of every batter of all the batters. Right. That's not an easy thing to do against major league hitters. It's not like the days of Nolan Ryan who would go 9 innings and strike out 16 guys. I went 9 innings. Like I recorded a ton of outs.
Yeah, and if this was the era to rack up strikeouts, it would be this one.
You'd think.
It's easy to strike guys out nowadays because they're all going for the downs. Even on 0-2 counts, they're still swinging from their touch hole, trying to get it over the wall. Like, it's easy to strike people out, but we're only going 5 innings, so it doesn't really matter. It evens itself out.
Yeah.
I don't think, like I said, I don't think we see 3,000 after these guys are gone. I really don't.
It's going to be hard. I mean, 300 wins, there's no way. 3,000 Ks. I mean, I think you'll see 3,000 Ks before you see 300 wins, but they're both a reach.
Yeah. Moyer only needs 559. Maybe he comes back and has a go at it. That'd be awesome. Yeah, because, John Temple answers with our typical Jamie Moyer comment. But, yeah, and John Temple says guys don't pitch anymore. They throw to a target 80, 100 pitches and on to the next guy. Yeah. And half the time, it's not even that. These guys are on a 70 to 75 pitch count. If they get up to 78 to end the inning, that's it. And then it's onto the bullpen. For me, 3,000 won't be reached. 300 wins won't be reached after this kind of generation of ball player leaves, which is unfortunate. But
it is. But the game has just changed so much.
Yep. All right, let's get to this dude because this guy, I have never seen anything like this. And we've seen some pretty good hitters in our time. This guy is on an absolute, I don't even have the word for it. Like, I can't say tear because it's more than a tear. A torrid stretch. I don't know. What's the word you would use?
I mean, honestly, like if you ask me to explain Cal Raleigh right now, he's having one of the best offensive seasons for a catcher or for anyone we've ever seen. I mean, he's a machine.
It's crazy. So Cal Raleigh passes Johnny Bench for most home runs before the All-Star break when he went deep twice at Wrigley Friday. Then he passed Mickey Mantle for the most for a switch hitter before the All-Star break on Saturday, and then hit one more today to get to 31. So he was the first to 30, most by a switch hitter before the All-Star break. Only him and Griffey had achieved 30 at this point for the Mariners in Mariners history. Is he now the front runner for MVP?
I mean, I feel like he has to be. I mean, you can still make a case for Judge, who's having a monster season and has got Cal Raleigh in a number of categories. But I think when you look at the importance to the team, there's nobody right now who's more important than Cal Raleigh. I mean, every day he gets up and just throws that team on his back and carries them.
Yeah, and that's a great point because what was it? Last week, I think he was homerless for like 3 straight games or something like that.
Yep.
And they lost all 3 games.
Yeah, they got swept.
If that's not valuable, I don't know what is, right? I mean, like that series isn't valuable player, but it shows that when he produces, his team wins. And if the Mariners make the playoffs,
by the way, he's a pretty good defensive catcher too.
Right. So I mean, if the Mariners are competing at the end of this, even if they don't make the playoffs, but they're there in the hunt in the last week, it has to be him. Like unless Aaron Judge, which he's capable of, comes out, hits 20 home runs this week, takes the lead at 40 going into the All-Star break, which he's capable of, let me tell you. Yep. Aaron Judge is an animal, not saying he's not. You can't discount this year that Cal Raleigh's having. Out of not even just the catcher position, just any position in general. But it is even more special that it's out of the catcher's position because we've just never seen this since Johnny Bench. Like, this is once in a generation right here.
Yeah, I mean, you do not expect this performance out of a catcher with the physical beating they take, all the time they spend with the pitchers, all the time they sacrifice BP, all the time they sacrifice their film and tee time. You just don't expect a catcher to go and do this. And the fact that he is managing one of the better rotations in baseball night in, night out, and performing like this, and attempting to single-handedly drag this team into contention, it's really hard to say that Aaron Judge may have when all is said and done, Aaron Judge may have the better season, but you can't say that he's more valuable than what Cal Raleigh's done.
Yeah. John says he's in God mode. I mean, that's a pretty good way to put it. Hit one 440 foul in the 7th as well today. Jeez, after he went deep in the first.
I honestly, like, it's shocking to me that they're still pitching to him.
Yeah.
Like, there's nobody in that lineup to be afraid of but him. Why are you still pitching to him?
I agree. I like Cal for it. Captain says I like Cal for it because of the position, but Judge is batting .370. That's hard to discount. I mean, Judge has the power and he's got the average. 370 is at this point of the year is still ridiculous. And
Judge may end up having one of the best offensive seasons ever. But when you talk about valuable, it's probably still Cal. But Aaron Judge is absolutely a freak of nature.
Yeah, but that, again, we put that in the hands of the writers to make that decision. And let's be honest, you're a Yankee, you're a Dodger.
Yeah, they're just going to ball wash Aaron Judge.
Yeah. But for me, I think it's not even a contest for me right now. And like I said, not trying to take anything away from Aaron Judge because his season right now is also ridiculous. But what Cal Raleigh's doing is out of this world and incredible. Mariners are must-watch TV just because of Cal Raleigh right now. So,
yeah, and when was the last time you said the Mariners are must-watch TV?
That 90s.
Yeah. Right.
When Felix Hernandez pitched, when Ichiro came up, that's about it. I mean, that's otherwise than that, no, I agree. John says 4 more home runs puts him at the 8th player ever to hit 35 before the All-Star break. Yeah, and how many of those guys were steroid guys? That would be interesting to see how many, because I know McGuire, Sosa, they all did it. So I wonder how many more were that. 5 more games until the halfway point. Cal could be on pace for 70 by then, which is crazy.
And this whole Cubs Mariners weekend series was bananas. In terms of home runs, lead changes, just utter chaos.
Well, the wind hadn't been blowing out by like 20 miles an hour there too. It just seemed like balls were leaving the ballpark all over the place. But
it was nuts.
Yeah. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, and this is where I hope that the writers tend to lead to. He is doing historical things right now, and writers do tend to trend toward that feat. I agree. Still hard to vote against Yankees and Dodgers, though. That's just how it's always been, it seems, because they're always winning. And it's hard to not pick an MVP on a winning team, right? We do see MVPs on teams that finish in last, but it's rare. So I'm not saying the Mariners are going to finish in last, but I mean, we do see MVPs that aren't on winning teams, but it's rare. The Mariners have to compete for him to have a shot.
Yeah, the Mariners being relevant makes his case stronger.
Yep, 1,000%. All right, Gino Suarez joins the 300 home run club Friday night at Coors Field. 9 home runs in the last 13 games. But my question to you, does Suarez get dealt at the deadline?
I mean, that contract is over. He's going to free agency. I can't imagine the D-backs at this point in the season, as deep as they are with the injuries they've got, feel like they're going to be real contenders down the stretch. I don't think they're going to go out and spend. I don't think they can. So I think that Suarez is a really good candidate to get moved to somebody who is in desperate need of a power bat.
I do too, and I think they could get an all right haul for him. I mean, they're 8 games back out of the division. They are, what are they? 3.5 out of the wild card. So, I mean, I don't know, man.
But if you're the Diamondbacks right now, you're looking up at the Giants, the Padres, the Dodgers, the Cubs, the Mets, the Phillies. Do you really think you're going to catch any of those teams?
I don't know. Corbin Carroll just went on the shelf, or is getting an MRI on his hand. So I don't know. Maybe the Diamondbacks do for the right package. Yeah, good God, Gino's coming back to Seattle. Stacy says, yep, send him to Seattle. Of course, Stacy says that. All these Seattle Mariners fans, maybe we should just turn this into a Seattle Mariners podcast, for crying out loud.
Probably could. Holy cow.
And you're saying Ford and Hancock for Gino? Yeah, I mean, for me, I think he loves it in Arizona. I really do. The Diamondbacks love him. He is streaky as heck, as you can see. 9 home runs in 13 games. He'll turn the next 13 games and go, 0 for 30 with 27 Ks. That's Gino Suarez. But you'll live with that because you know what's on the backside of that, and that's 9 home runs in 9 games, right?
Well, yeah, he had 6 in the first week of the season. I mean,
yeah, he had 6 in the first 5 games or something like that. It was insane. Right. And then he had the 4 home run game this year. Yep. So, I mean, unfortunately, I think my D-backs are out. They have a big hill to climb if they want to compete in the NL wild card. They got to figure out pitching. Their pitching is not great. A lot of holes, like you said, tons of injuries. Corbin Burnes and Justin Martinez are massive losses. It sounds like the Corbin Carroll injury is more precautionary. The MRI is precautionary, and they're not expecting it to be anything. But I hope it's hard to say because we're still kind of a month out from the deadline ish. If the D-backs get hot and they take over a wild card spot, he stays. But if they fall back any more, if they're 5 games back or below, they'll trade him.
Yeah, I mean, the story of the Diamondbacks season, they scored the 3rd most runs in the National League, and they're a -3.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be a top 3 offense and be getting outscored by your opponents.
Yeah. I mean,
that's not good.
Losing 4+ games, like scoring double-digit runs, is also a problem. I mean, they've lost 3 games this year where they've scored 11 or more runs.
Yeah, they've lost a couple of those games like late, like big comebacks late.
Yeah, and they lost 1 game this year when they scored 12 runs. They lost it. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, that was when the Cubs came back on them, right?
Yeah, yes, I believe so. Yes, he did play for Seattle, so he came from Seattle. So he he started with the Reds, went to Seattle, then to the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chad, I think I'm with you here. It'll be a last-minute deal if he gets moved. D-backs need to know if they're still in it or planning for next year. I think that's an absolute fair point.
Yeah, they're going to call around and gauge interest and probably have a deal queued up and then wait till the last minute to pull the trigger.
Yeah. Are they the Angels now when they had Trout and Ohtani? No.
No. This is more about bad luck, I think, and injuries than it is about, not having the talent you need. I mean, the Angels, when they had Trout and Ohtani, they went out and got Rendon. That was a disaster. They never invested in pitching, and they were just hoping that those 2 guys could carry them.
Well, the Diamondbacks don't have the 2 best players in the league on their team. So no team in history will ever be the Angels with Trout and Ohtani, if that makes any sense.
True.
But I don't know what I was going to say after that. Anyways, yeah, I think it's a wait and see for the Diamondbacks. But I just don't quite think they have it this year. I think it's start planning for next year, but we'll see if they're still in it in a month, because we've seen this offense. This offense is one of the best offenses in baseball. What they have up the middle with Perdomo and Marte, I love watching them together. Perdomo is a beast at the plate and in the field. Marte is an animal. Do you just start building up the middle there? You have Corbin. He's going to stay. Marte's there forever, and you got to keep Perdomo there. And I think you start building around those guys and wait for the injuries to come back. But
yeah, they just for the Diamondbacks, everything that could go wrong has gone wrong this year. Injuries, bad luck, just everything possible has not gone their way.
I hear Boston has an opening for a power bat, and a right-handed one for that matter.
Yeah.
Ooh.
He'd probably do well at Fenway.
He
hits a lot of fly balls to left.
Dude, I'd be sitting on top of the Sitco sign just waiting to catch his home run balls.
Well, and a lot of the balls that he leaves at the warning track in Arizona are gone at Fenway.
Yeah, by a mile.
Yeah, not close.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see. All right, Nick Kurtz. I again, I'll preface this with saying I know I've been high on the A's and the young kids that are coming up with the Athletics, but this kid had a pretty damn good week. 2 walk-off home runs in 4 games, leads the league in furthest average home run distance. So this kid has unreal raw power. And is this now a 2-man race for AL Rookie of the Year with him and Jacob Wilson, who are both Athletics? Does Jack Caglianone also come into this conversation, or is it still too early for him?
Unless Jacob Wilson falls off the planet, I don't know if there's much of a race. I mean, I think you could just give Jacob Wilson the trophy now, because nobody's going to catch him in terms of what he's doing. But I do think that you're looking at Kurtz as maybe a runner-up, and Caglianone probably behind him. I think what's going to hurt Caglianone is the late start.
Yep.
Same with Kurtz. They got a late start. But I also think when you look at what Jacob Wilson is doing, it is, I mean, he is like chasing Ichiro's rookie season, which was record setting.
Yeah, he's got 100+ hits already.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Yeah, and he just came back off the IL too. Yeah, I forgot he was off with was it a hip or something?
Yeah, he was
like
out.
That?
He was out for, was it 10?
Yeah, I think it was 10. They're still waiting for Langoliers to come back too, but
yeah, it's a loss.
Yeah, I mean this team is crazy young. Soderstrom, Max Muncy, the other Max Muncy just came up. Jacob Wilson, Nick Kurtz. They just Denzel Clark. I mean, they got rookies everywhere.
Rooker, Butler, Langoliers, like still guys that are all young.
I was gonna say Rooker and Butler are veterans, and they've been here for what, 3 years,
and
maybe.
They're all mid-20s.
Yeah, this is a team that's gonna, if they can keep them together, like I hope they actually do, they're gonna be pretty dang good. They're gonna have a great foundation heading into Vegas if they can somehow keep these guys together. Yeah.
Well, and I think, John, that I think that's the one thing about Wilson that doesn't get talked about enough is that he's a hitting machine, but defensively he's solid.
Yes.
And I think that people just don't talk about it because the bat's been so good. But he is a more than adequate, very capable defender who is only going to get better.
Yeah.
And he's playing most of his games on a AAA field, which is nice, but it's not a major league field. Like, let's be serious. There's definitely a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. And Prime says, I love Nick Kurtz for the walk-off against the Astros. Yeah, both of them were against the Astros. So that just makes it sink in even better.
Yeah, we love seeing the Astros go down.
Yeah. Kurtz might steal some votes from Wilson. I do think Wilson's too far ahead of anybody, but splitting votes may open the door for Cags.
Totally possible.
Okay.
I mean, if Kurtz performs well, they could potentially steal votes from each other.
Yeah.
But
listen,
I agree. Wilson's he's so far ahead, it's not even funny right now.
Yeah. Denzel Clark, if you guys have not seen his defensive highlight reel already, he's already put one together. It is ridiculous. That catch he made last week where he Spider-Man'd up over the wall to reach in, crazy. He's laying out in the gaps. He's getting to balls.
He's run straight into the wall.
Yeah. He reminds me of Jim Edmonds out there.
Yep.
Like that type of defense. It is unreal to watch him. So, I mean,
that's why he's up there with Edmonds, Jackie Bradley Jr.
Yeah.
I mean, Griffey in some ways, he gets the stuff that I don't know how. Yeah.
But yeah, that's why I turn the A's on every night, because I'm like, I'm gonna see something spectacular out of these young kids, and it's wild.
It's a show every night.
Yeah. I mean, they're not great, but they're still developing. I think they can get there. They'll get the pitching eventually, but that place also, it helps them offensively, really hurts their pitching staff because that place is a homer dome. Balls are flying out of there.
And it stinks because the A's were having a nice season. They hit that stretch of losing, what was it, 19 out of 20?
Yeah.
And it just tons of like bad breaks and late losses and bullpen coughing them up, and again, like a stretch where like everything that could go wrong did go wrong. The A's, I think, are a better team than their record shows. Yes. And I hope that we'll see that as the season goes on. But if nothing else, to your point, they're a lot of fun to watch. And whether they win 50 games or win 100 games, I would still watch them pretty much every night.
Yep, absolutely. Speaking of crazy ass rookies right now, Jacob Misiorowski, 11 straight hitless innings to start his MLB career. Will he start entering the NL Rookie of the Year talk? He just came up, but he already cemented himself as Rookie of the Year in the NL just from that start.
I mean, it's hard to argue it's not going to get a lot of people's attention. It'd be hard to say that he's not going to get a look. I mean, you have had good seasons out of, Drake Baldwin's had a really good season. Yep. You've had Ben Kasparius, who's been hugely valuable for the Dodgers in a number of roles. Matt Shaw with the Cubs. But I don't think that those guys have blown you away. I mean, the odds-on favorite was Dylan Cruz, and he's just not been able to consistently put it together. There's no reason that he can't slide in and steal some votes, because with a start like that, if that stuff continues to play, it's forget about it.
His stuff is filthy. Like, it's not right.
I don't know how you hit it. I really don't. Like, there are guys you watch and go, yeah, he's good. But like, you watch this kid and you're like, how does anybody touch anything he throws?
How did he sit in the minors for that long is my next question.
Well, that's another good question. Why did the Brewers wait so damn long? But
control. But I mean, let's be honest. But yeah, I think he's the front runner already. That 11 hitless innings. I mean, he could go out and get lit up as soon as the teams get some tape on him. You know, we've seen that before.
Yeah. He's got more wins than hits allowed.
That stat is wild.
It's
that's like wild to wrap
my brain melted. My brain melted trying to make sense of that.
Yeah, more wins than hits allowed is it's laughable, really.
Then you got poor Paul Skeens, who's pitching to a 2 ERA and can't win anything.
Yeah, sub 2, and he's got what, 3 wins?
It's awful.
Yeah, absolutely brutal. Oh man. All right, let's talk about the Milwaukee Brewers weekend here, huh? Shall we? Scored 35 runs on 47 hits in the weekend series against the Twins. Sorry, John Carter. Scored 26 runs Friday and Saturday without hitting a home run. Death by 1,000 cuts always hurts. Imagine being out in the field for that. 27 runs, not a home run hit. You are just chasing balls all over the place all night for 2 nights straight.
Yeah, there's a long line for the ice baths after that game.
So are the Brewers making a run at the Cubs, or are they just going to do what they do every year, make the wild card and lose?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the Cubs will be caught. I think the Brewers are doing what they always do. They're going to be just good enough to hang around, just good enough to get into the dance, and then just good enough to get bounced. And that is their MO. I mean, that is their MO. Last year they won the division, which I think was probably not a surprise, but they weren't necessarily like the odds-on favorite to win it.
Yeah.
This year they definitely weren't the favorite to win it, and I don't think they will. But for whatever reason, they have a way of just hanging around, making the playoffs every friggin' season.
Yeah.
But they're never a team that like scares you. They're never a team that feels like a threat.
Right. Yeah, that's some beer league softball shit there.
It totally is.
You ain't wrong.
Totally is.
I mean, that's a long weekend for the Minnesota Twins. That is, you're going into your next series and you felt like you just drank 30 beers the next morning because you are just hungover from getting your butt kicked. You know, that's hard to recover from.
Well, yeah, and how do you get amped up to go to the ballpark when you're just getting your brains bashed in? I tip my cap to Rocco to try to keep that team focused through this, because that is just an absolutely miserable stretch.
I mean, the only thing you can say is you go to the clubhouse and be like, well, fellas, that series didn't happen.
Yeah, like we always used to joke with Sean, puke it out and move on.
Yeah, that series, we're taking that right off the schedule. We're not even going to worry about that. Right? I mean, which you kind of can, because it's in the grand scheme of things, it's just 3 losses.
Yep.
Right? Yeah, you got your butts kicked.
They were just painful.
Frame it. Yeah, right. So you just hope that this doesn't turn into a long skid for that Twins team, because I mean, that AL Central still kind of up for grabs, maybe. Not up for grabs. I wouldn't. The Tigers got the Central, but I mean, the wild cards, they're all sort of kind of in it.
Yeah, I mean, the Guardians are in a wild card spot. KC's 2 back. The Twins are 2.5 back.
Yeah.
So I mean, these guys aren't out of it, but I mean, the Minnesota Twins are 1-9 in their last 10.
Yeah.
Like, they have been through an absolutely hellacious stretch, but that whole division has. Detroit's 5-5, Cleveland's 5-5, Kansas City's 4-6, Minnesota's 1-9.
Yeah.
That whole division has eaten a lot of humble pie the last 2 weeks.
It seems like that has shifted from the NL East to the AL Central. That whole because we went through that 10-game stretch last week, whereas the whole NL East was 1-9, 2-8, 1 that seems like it has switched. Yeah. Just say, hey, we could be the Rockies. I mean, maybe that's how they.
I mean, there's always that. Yeah, we could be the Rockies or the White Sox. It could always be worse.
Yep.
But I think it's one of those where you just have to, like Nick said, you've got to have short-term memory. Just forget about this weekend and start over.
Yeah.
It's like you wish you could have that little Men in Black zapper, and just boom, yeah, we remember nothing of this weekend. Let's just forget about it.
Rocco walks in and he goes, "Hey guys, let's just get on the plane, go to the next series." And then they're like, "Well, coach, we're actually at home this series." Oh, well, whatever. You know what I mean?
Well, that's one of those where if you do have an off day and you're traveling somewhere, that's when you load that plane up with beer and just let those guys basically
Unwind.
party it out of their system.
Yep.
Let them just unwind, relax, party it out of their system.
Yep. Agree. All right. I posted this last night because I thought this was absolutely incredible.
It's pretty cool.
Ryan McMahon homered in front of 437 other Ryans on Ryan's night at Coors Field. Ryans took up 2 complete sections at Coors Field. So they interviewed this kid during the game that has orchestrated this. And it started, I guess, on Facebook. And he just tried to get guys that were named Ryan to meet up in New York. So the first outing they met, 3 of them showed up. And they're like, all right, well, we'll try it again. And they went to a bar that was named Ryan's Oyster Bar or something like that. 150 of them showed up. So then they went to Colorado to do this whole Ryan thing. And they had 400 plus Ryans show up for this. And they're trying to get it to the biggest event of everybody named everybody named Ryan. And I think the Guinness Book of World Records they talked about was Ivan. Was the biggest group of people with the same name. That's in the Guinness Book of World Records. That's what they're going for. But not only were they chanting Ryan when he came up the plate, he just responds with a 440-foot blast to right field too. Absolute tank. That's cool. It was a pretty cool story. Yeah, I loved it. But pretty awesome.
It's amazing how baseball always has a way of writing those stories.
Yeah.
It just always happens.
Yeah. Rowdy Tellez DFA'd by the Mariners. Interesting here. I mean, I kind of get it, kind of don't. 208 batting average, 11 home runs. So he's giving you some pop at the plate. 27 RBIs, 249 OBP is where I kind of go, well, yeah, I get it. With all the Johns on the podcast, we got this, boys, for sure. Yeah. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. The 208 batting average and 249 OBP are not exciting. Tellez is giving you an occasional bomb and then a bunch of nothing in between. And he wasn't getting a lot of playing time. I mean, he was getting a fair amount. It was almost like they weren't sure what to do with him. And it was well, we're not getting a lot out of you. We're not really. Other guys are starting to emerge, so probably better to part ways now and give you a shot to go, hook on with somebody else. But I'm kind of in that boat of I kind of get it, but he's not your problem.
Yeah. Did they owe him money? Actually, I think he was 4 at-bats away from earning his incentives, so the Mariners would cut him.
Yeah, they gave him the nutting treatment.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'll take the 11 home runs. I know that average isn't great. The OBP's not great either. But 11 home runs really isn't bad. You're on pace for almost 30.
Yeah, I mean it's not a bad. I guess it really depends on what you're looking for from him. If you're looking for a guy if you're looking for a Joey Gallo, there you go. He'll pop out there, hit an occasional bomb for you, and give you a shot in the arm, and then give you a bunch of nothing in between. If you're looking for a guy who's going to add another dynamic to your offense, Rowdy Tellez ain't that guy.
Yeah.
But but he has a spot. It just has to be the right spot.
Yeah. Listen, as much as the Boston fan base would get completely behind this guy, they would love this dude and the type of guy he is. I don't think he's the right fit for Fenway and that team at this moment.
No.
I think the Red Sox we'll get to the Red Sox in a little bit. I actually pushed them to the back burner tonight. I think the Red Sox are going to try to go for it at the deadline here. I mean, I could be wrong, but all reports are that they want to push forward. So I don't know.
God knows they got money to spend.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Solano showed up finally, hitting .510 this month now and 34 at bats. That's nice, but
yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're into that,
yeah, not bad. All right, Ron Washington out indefinitely with a medical issue. Will still be at the games and around the clubhouse, but not managing games until he's 100%. So he's in the field. He's in the press box and stuff. Not press box, but the owner's box and stuff like that. So he's around the guys. He's around the players, but just not feeling 100%, I guess. So he's not currently managing the ball club. So I thought that was interesting story.
Such a great baseball guy. It's sad. It's sad to see him pulled out of the dugout, but it is. I mean, I'm glad he's going to get himself taken care of and come back when he's ready. But a truly great baseball guy, a gem of a baseball guy.
Yeah,
it's sad.
And the reason the Angels are playing like they are, I mean, they're still the Angels. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
I mean, they have a lot of youth on that team as well. But they're playing. I mean, as they're performing as we expected, but I don't think that they're the dumpster fire that they have been in the past. They have more promise this year than they've had for a while that I can remember.
Yeah, that's a respectable ball club. I mean, they're the kind of team that could easily come in and get swept by you or sweep you. They are inconsistent. They are young. Their lineup and rotation can be a little bit patchwork sometimes, but they generally play good baseball. I mean, they're a team that's 37-40, 2.5 games out of the wild card. They're a -54, but we know the pitching deficiencies they have.
Yeah,
they're not a bad team. They're serviceable.
Yep. Talk to me in August. That's fair. Yeah, Arnold, I'm with you here. Joe Adell has the potential to be a superstar. That kid's got a ton of power. Just try not to botch him. That's a hard ask, but I'm completely with you. They got some studs on that team. Adell, Ohapi, Neto. I mean, they have some youth and have some promise. Shonenwell, he's decent. I mean, they got some promise. They do need to get some arms in there for sure.
They do.
And Chad, I'm with you here. I'm glad the Angels are putting his health first. Like, it shows that they care about their team, their organization. And he's still going to be around the team, so he's still going to impact the team on a daily basis. He's just not in the dugout. So, yeah, you said this a few weeks ago, John, that they're the team that's going to spoil the Mariners' playoff run. It could be. And capping 1,000% with this. We have heard Joe Adell's name the last 2 or 3 seasons, waiting for that breakout moment, and it seems like we're pretty much there or getting there.
For Joe Adell, it's always been about consistency.
Yep.
He can be so Jekyll and Hyde. He can be so streaky. There are nights he looks terrific, and there's nights you're like, is the dude even paying attention? And it's not just
Right.
not just with a bat. It's also in the field. Like there are times he just takes games off, and I think that's always been the knock on him. It's been a lack of consistency. It's been a lack of effort at times. That he seems a little bit kind of out there. But if they can rein him in, the dude has got tremendous talent.
Yeah. A couple of years ago, his woes in the outfield were God, it was tough.
It was like the circus came to town.
Yeah, it was tough.
The ball would go up in the air, and you could hear the music playing. Do 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 do.
Yeah. All right, Harrison. I'm going to let you kind of take the lead on this because I am so flustered around this whole entire thing that I can't wrap my brain around it. So go ahead.
All right. Well, I'm gonna take a quick victory lap here because I've been saying for like, I don't know, probably most of the season that something just isn't right in that front office. The deals haven't made sense. The decisions haven't made sense. And I know at first you thought I was just being a crazy overreactive Red Sox fan, but I think you're with me now that there's something broken in that front office. So there's a number of stories that have come out in the last probably 7 to 10 days, diving deeper into the Red Sox front office, and the issues that Craig Breslow is having with leading that front office, but also with the decision making. So they had brought in consultants early this year to go over the efficiency of it. They let a bunch of people go, which was not popular. He has people in the organization openly working against him. He had to fire one of their top scouting people who called him an effing stiff on a conference call. They interviewed somebody for a baseball ops job using strictly AI, which pissed the person off and they turned down the job. Like, these stories keep coming out. And I've been saying it all along. Craig Breslow seems like he's in way over his head for this role. And I think what we're learning is one, yes, he's in way over his head and he cannot handle a job of this magnitude. But B, this front office lacks leadership, period. Sam Kennedy, we've known, has been an empty suit forever. We know the ownership group is absent. And they're relying on Breslow to really run the whole show. And you hired a guy who should be on the JV squad to be your varsity captain. And the people on the team are looking at him going, we're not going to follow you. Like, you're not the guy. And I do think that Chaim Bloom ran a very good front office. He came in with a lot of respect because of his reputation. Breslow came in as a guy who still hadn't proven he could do it. And I think you're seeing a lot of that right now. The front office is reacting to him and saying, you're not the guy. You're not ready for this job. You're not making good decisions. And we can go through all kinds of decisions. The Walker Buehler signing, no incentives, no options. You gave away quite the haul for Garrett Crochet. You signed Alex Bregman out of the blue when that wasn't like a need necessarily. It was like a nice to have and you overpaid for it. And inside the front office, he's getting the same kind of pushback from people that just do not agree with the path they're on and the decisions that are being made. And that front office, it sounds like, is in kind of disarray and chaos, which explains a lot of what we're seeing on the field.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I really don't. We've known the GM spot in the Red Sox front office has been one of the toughest jobs, I would say, in sports. Right?
It's a tough one.
It's a lot of criticism. Sean was on last week talking about, like, nobody wants this job.
No.
How did Breslow get this job as being a first-time GM? Nobody wants it. Nobody wants to deal with the headache. Everybody knows what's going on with Fenway Sports Group, and this is what Chad kind of brought in right here, right? Liverpool, the F1 team, buying the hockey team, they are focused on Fenway Sports Group. So like you said, Harrison, they're absent. They don't really care what happens with the Red Sox, which leaves the GM spot to just be like, okay, like, what direction do you want me to go in? Am I saving money? Am I trying to get the Red Sox to win? Am I trying to do both? Like, what do you guys want me to do? But you got to pick a lane. You got to do it. And that's what Bloom did so well, was he came in knowing that he's like, you know what? Maybe I don't know what the ownership wants, but I'm going to do what I know how to do. And that is to build up the farm. And eventually it came back to bite him because the Red Sox weren't competing, which, I mean, the fans were like, yeah, spend, compete. But, like, me and you knew what he was doing. The Cardinals are going to love this dude next year because in 4 or 5 years, they're going to be stacked. Like, that's what Bloom does. He goes in, he builds a minor league team, and he leaves. He goes to another squad. That dude's always going to have a job as long as he lives.
He built up the Rays minor league system and player development program. How's that working out? As they yet again make another run to compete for the AL East.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's automatic.
Yeah.
So I think what you're seeing is the Red Sox had gone from you had Theo Epstein, you had Chaim Bloom, you had these guys who came in, established themselves, ran the show, ran it very effectively, and because of how things have ended with the last, with Theo leaving in the friggin' gorilla suit and Chaim Bloom getting fired because Alex Cora was mad at him, I think that you got the best guy you could get in Breslow, who we knew coming in, when they hired him, we kind of went, really? Like, that's the guy? Like, okay. Not a super exciting hire, but like, we'll see. And what are we? Is this year 2 or year 3? And
3, I think. I don't remember.
Doesn't matter. But either way, it's a series of 500 seasons, worst defensive team in baseball. Like, it's just it's more of the same, and the team just isn't getting better. Now you just had to get rid of Rafael Devers because you had issues in the clubhouse. I'm getting the sense that Craig Breslow doesn't feel like he can fire Alex Cora. I feel like Alex Cora has become kind of untouchable. I think what we're seeing is exactly what we were going to see, and that is the fact this Red Sox front office lacks leadership, lacks direction, lacks vision, and that's why this team's been irrelevant for the last 6 years.
Yeah, but I mean, I think he's almost stuck in this position because, again, who takes it? I don't think there's any of the other 29 GMs in the league that would take this job. Hell, they'd probably be like, hey, is the Rockies job open? I'd rather have that one.
Yeah, I mean, and you hope the guy like, so Mike Hazen in Arizona, he was a Theo disciple. Ben Cherington in Pittsburgh, who was the Red Sox GM for like a minute. You thought he would be the heir apparent and take over for Theo. Those guys are GM somewhere else now because it didn't work out to stay in Boston.
Well,
so John's on it.
All right.
I mean,
love it.
The Red Sox need to figure this out. I don't think Breslow's the guy. I don't think keeping him around is fair to him or the front office. But I don't think swapping out the GM alone is going to fix it.
I agree.
Sam Kennedy's got to go. This ownership group's got to pick a lane. They've got to set a budget. They've got to put together a plan as to what this team's going to be. They can't just keep winging it every year, hoping that something's going to stick.
Yeah, agree. I just don't know where they go. But for me, the owners group is called Fenway Sports Group. You would think that the team that your name is based on would want to be successful. Like, for me, that's what I would think. Like, my name is attached to Fenway Park. Boston Red Sox. I just don't get I get them trying to build it. It's their money. They spend it where they want to. I get all that rich people stuff. I get it. But like, the team that you started this group with is not competitive. When does the focus shift back to the Red Sox at all? If at all? I don't know.
Well, and I think the problem is that I think the Fenway Sports Group has gotten so big, because you think about it, like, they started off with the Red Sox only. It was the Red Sox, then it was the Penguins, then it was the Racing Club, then it was Liverpool, then it was the PGA Tour, then it was they were in it for a basketball team at one point, making bids on a basketball team. Actually, I think they're making a bid for the Celtics, if I remember correctly. It's gotten so big that if you're John Henry, you don't have more than a few hours a week to even think about the Red Sox. But in those few hours, that's where you actually do your job as the chairman to say, hey, this is the direction the Red Sox are going. We need to hit on these key things. We need to have a budget. We need to have player development up and going. We need to have all these things in place. So let's make sure that we've got the leadership team in place that can execute on all those priorities, and then you get the hell out of the way. And I don't know if maybe they've done that and the front office just can't execute on it because, again, Sam Kennedy's an empty suit and has been for the whole time he's been there. If Craig Breslow's the wrong guy, if the front office isn't set up right, If they don't have the resources, I don't know.
Yeah.
But we continue to see the same stuff. And this is an organization that won 4 World Series in 14 years.
Right.
And all of a sudden can't be better than friggin' 500.
Chad, this is a fantastic point. Red Sox fans are going to be loyal no matter what. It seems ownership is banking on that. Will never run dry. You're not wrong, right? Red Sox fans are always going to be here. They suffered through 86 years of just absolutely getting their teeth kicked in year after year, heartbreak after heartbreak, and they were still there. So it's brutal. Don't call him a stiff. You'll have a job. Just don't call him a stiff.
Yeah, and it's hard because you look at the Red Sox in 2023 and 2024. They are one of the most profitable teams in baseball. I want to say in 2023 they made net income after all the bills were paid, $65 million. Which, so as a fan, I go, well, why didn't you spend that on some players? Like, you should make some money, but you had $65 million left over. That would have been a top of the rotation starter, and you could have kept the other $30 million.
Right.
But instead, I think again, as John had mentioned, these guys are acting not as owners anymore. They're acting as investors. They want a return on their money, and they also need capital to fuel all the other acquisitions that they're doing. And the Red Sox are the golden goose that prints money because of Nesson, because of Fenway Park, because of the Red Sox, because of the history, because of all those things. Basically, I think the Red Sox have become the teat that feeds the whole thing.
Yeah.
And that is why they run it the way they have, because they are not interested necessarily in winning a World Series. You're like, hey, we gave you guys 4. You're fine for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to reap some of that. We're going to take some of that money back, because they didn't make a lot of money during those runs. They spent a lot to win those World Series. They're going to reap the money now, put it in the bank, go buy other stuff, and then they'll come back to the Red Sox when they're done.
Maybe.
But it's not a priority right now, and that's very clear.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you 1,000%.
They're a cash cow, not a priority.
Yep. Red Sox ownership is in the pay no attention to the man behind the curtain phase. It sucks because Seattle has been that way for 20 years. Yeah.
But at the same time, like, Seattle has an excuse. Their revenue is significantly less than the Red Sox. Yeah. The Red Sox are one of the top 5 teams in baseball when it comes to revenue. There's absolutely no reason that you're 500 for 3 years in a row, 5 years in a row.
Well, no, we have 21.
5 out of 6. Yeah, 5 out of 6.
Yeah.
There's no reason for that.
Nope.
But here we are.
We want to go all the way back. It'd be 7 out of 8. Since the 2018 World Series, Alex Cora is a 500 manager. And that's with 2021 in there. So
that's true.
Brutal. All right. New York Mets. Now, today they hit 7 solo home runs, which broke an MLB record for most solo home runs in a single game, which is crazy. But before that, they had lost 7 straight and lost the lead in the NL East to the Phillies. So we were on here, was it last week, a couple weeks ago? I can't remember. All my days blur together. Saying that if there was a second place team to kind of overcome them, leap into first, who was it going to be? We all said the Phillies, really, because they were closest at the time, and they have the team to do it. Well, they did it. Are the Phillies there to stay, or do we still believe in the Mets?
No, I don't believe in the Mets. I don't think the Mets can withstand can do what they've done all season. I think the Phillies are the better team. They just have to get their own stuff worked out. And right now, the Phillies beat them today 7-1. They now sit tied for the division lead at 46-31. Phillies won 8 of their last 10. The Mets have lost 7 of their last 10. 2 teams kind of trending in different directions. And what surprises me with the Mets is how few runs they've surrendered. Their pitching has been so good.
I don't get it.
I don't get it, and I just don't think they can keep it up. There is not going to be a world in which that Mets pitching staff is the best one in baseball at the end of the year.
Now they did just lose McGill to the IL. I don't know for how long. I think it's just a 10-day stint. Maybe it's just to skip a
Yeah,
couple starts. But
and Sanga missed a chunk. I mean, they're starting to show some signs, but I don't think that pitching can keep it up.
I mean, we were looking at that staff in the preseason, and we're just like, okay, other than Senga, you're banking a lot on Manaea, who's been there, but then you're just like, well, Manaea's hurt. He's done. Then you're like, Clay Holmes, what are we getting out of him? He's had a pretty decent start, better than I thought he was going to do there. David Peterson's had a good start, and then Griffin Canning kind of out of nowhere. Like, they've had some good pitching. But I agree with you. I do think to bring a Sean quote in, water finds its level. Look at the Red Sox pitching last year, for an example. First half of the year, lights out. No one could touch them. Back half of the year, they paid for it. And I think the Mets are that same way. Baseball is our life too. We're just not Phillies fans, but we get it. We get it, Tommy. We're with you.
You look at just look at their 5 primary starters. Tyler McGill's 5-5 with a 3.95 ERA.
Yeah.
David Peterson 5-3 with a 2.98. Clay Holmes 7-4 with a 3.04. Kodai Senga 7-3 with a 1.47. Griffin Canning 7-3 with a 3.91. Griffin Canning couldn't stay on a major league roster the last 2 years.
He couldn't even find one in the offseason.
Yeah, he's 7-3 with a 3.91. Like, I don't think you're going to have McGill, Peterson, Holmes, and Canning continue to pitch to ERAs in the 2s and 3s. I mean, I think Senga is a legitimate top of the rotation guy, but he's not a 1.5 or below ERA guy either. Yeah. And then you've had a bullpen that's been, I mean, really pretty good. A lot of that is Edwin Diaz revitalizing his career after the knee injury and a disaster last year.
Yeah.
But you're getting production out of everybody, and which is great. I do not think that starting rotation can hold up.
I agree. The Mets just have to make the playoffs. They're going to be a hard team to beat in a 7-game series if the hitters are healthy. I agree. I agree. Their lineup is good. And then Tommy says the Phillies have the best starting rotation in all of Major League Baseball. I challenge anyone to disagree with me. The only rotation that I think would even have a legit shot to battle the Phillies is a healthy Mariners staff. Now, those are the only 2 that I think 1 through 5 that I could give up, that I could challenge the Phillies staff. I think I agree with you at this point. The Phillies have the best staff in baseball when they're all going right. I mean, we won't talk about Aaron Nola's year, but I think the
Jesus Luzardo's had a hell of a few weeks.
Yeah. But if the Mariners staff is healthy, I think it's Mariners, Phillies, and they're neck and neck. They're 1A, 1B. I'd take either one of them, to be completely honest. But
yeah, and I in the offseason, when they picked up Luzardo, I'm like, boom, Phillies, best rotation in baseball. Mark it down now. And they have been exceptional at times, and they've also been a little inconsistent at times too. But I would not want to face that team in a 7-game series.
Yeah. Arnold to Tommy says I'm from Philly, but I hate the goddamn Phillies. That's interesting there, but yeah, I don't disagree. I'm pissed with the Mets got rid of Wheeler. Yeah, that's a tough one. Is Zach Wheeler going right over to Philly?
And did you see Wheeler's comments that he's going to retire at the end of 2027?
Yeah, that we talked about that last week. It's a weird one, a pre-retirement, 3 years down the road.
Putting a stake in the ground, just saying I think it's more so to say I'm not going to sign any more contract extensions. Don't expect that. I'm just going to pitch out this contract and retire. But at the same time, good for him realizing that I want to live a life outside of baseball.
Yep, 1,000%.
And I'm going to go when I'm ready.
Yep. And John, I'm with you. I would take the top 4 of the Mariners and the top 4 of that Phillies rotation, and I would love to see them just duke it out. That would be one hell of a series to watch. There's a lot of arm talent if those 2 are going at it at full strength. I would say the Phillies have the upper hand just because they have the lineup and the Mariners don't. Just pitch around Cal Raleigh and pitch to everybody else. Where Phillies, if you pitch around any of those guys, someone else is going to hurt you eventually. But
yeah,
pitching staffs, just pitching staffs, I'm taking either one and I'm happy.
Yeah, I mean, they're 1A and 1B. It's hard to argue that. It's hard to argue. I mean, I think the Phillies have the ability to be the best when they're firing on all cylinders, but Nola's had a rough season.
Yeah. Wheeler's the best pitcher in Major League Baseball. I don't think anyone is better. I don't know if he's the best, in my opinion. He's up there. I mean, he's way up there. In a game that I got to win, I think I still might take Skubal at this point.
Yeah,
I mean, Wheeler's proven it, but
Wheeler's great. You know, he's anywhere from a top 5 to a top 10 in the entire league. But I mean, you look across the league, you've got Skubal, Crochet, Skeens. I mean, who does he really jump in ahead of any of those guys? I don't know.
I would probably take him over Crochet right now. Crochet's filthy. Wheeler's proven. I think I would take Wheeler over Crochet, and that's coming from a Red Sox fan.
Yep.
He would be top 3. He would be top 3 for me. Skubal just goes out and shoves every single time. Like that, he's never automatic. He never has a bad outing. So for me, I think it's Skubal, and Wheeler's right there. I mean, there's nobody else that I think I could trust to go out and give me a solid start. Like, I know when Zach Wheeler gets the ball, he's gonna give me all he's got. Oh, well, right now I'm taking Misiorowski, no doubt. I think everybody is. We talked about him earlier. That kid is ridiculous.
We call that riding the hot hand.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's top 3. I would take Wheeler for sure. But
yeah, I mean, Wheeler's exceptional.
Yeah. But yeah, good one. Thoughts on the Phillies batting lineup? I mean, they're good, but they just, for whatever reason, they can't get that lineup through the playoffs. Is that a lineup issue? Is that a pitching issue? What is that for the Phillies?
Well, and as good as that lineup is, it's just they can be so wildly inconsistent. And there are stretches where they look so good, and stretches where you're like, what the hell happened? It is a long lineup. It's a deep lineup. But you look at guys like, you know, Schwarber kind of does what he does, but then you got guys like, you know, Bohm, who's wildly streaky, Stott, who was automatic, who's been a little bit less, Trey Turner. I don't know what to make of Trey Turner anymore. I'd love your opinion, Tommy. Is that Trey Turner contract a mistake? Because I don't think you've gotten from him what you hope to get out of him.
Yeah.
Castellanos, again, another guy that's super streaky. I don't know. I like their pitching rotation a hell of a lot better than I like the lineup.
Yeah. That's my last Philly question. Listen, Tommy, we talk everything baseball. So if you guys want to talk about something, like, that's why we have the chat. We want you guys to add to the show. Like, this show is for you. So if you got questions about your team, then for sure. So why do you think that is? One of the best lineups in baseball, and they're too inconsistent, can't win in the playoffs. Why do you think that is?
Because that lineup is built off of a lot of lower batting average, lower OBP, feast or famine hitters.
Waiting for the 3-run bomb.
This is the Oakland A's Moneyball. This is the Yankees. The same way as the Yankees built. You've loaded a bunch of great hitters into a lineup. But they don't necessarily complement each other. You need to balance the whole high OBP with the average, with the bat control, with the power, and you got too many guys in a row that are just drop and drive guys, and that creates a lot of holes. The only way to lengthen that lineup is to have guys that can actually fill those roles of high OBP, high average, moving guys around. Yeah, it's exactly, John. They're high risk, high reward. It is very much they are waiting on the 3-run bomb.
Yeah.
And that works against the Rockies, but it doesn't work in the playoffs against the Braves or the whoever. You can't live and die by the 3-run bomb.
Yeah. And Arnold, this is baseball in general. Like next week we could come on this show and completely talk about the opposite side of every single slide I've had tonight.
Yep.
Right? Because that's how baseball works. Like you're 1-9 this week, you're 9-1 next week. The week after that, you're back to 1-9. The week after that, you're 9-1. Like totally get it. But it is those consistent teams that are, 6-4, 7-3. Even a 5-5 week you could live with if you follow it up with a 7-3 week. It's the teams that have the consecutive 10-game stretches of 4-6, 3-7. Then you start getting into those lulls and inconsistencies. But I mean, that's baseball, ebbs and flows for sure. But all right, before we get to any more loose topics from our chat, I wanted to release our Jeopardy standings after week 2. So we have 7 more weeks left. Week 3 Jeopardy Trivia Challenge is on Wednesday at 9 p.m. These are our standings. We got John Carter in first with 10 points. We have Brandon and Vincent tied for second with 3 points. Then we got Captain, Joshua Dion, Justin Green, and John O'Hara in third with all 1 point. So still got plenty of weeks left to earn points to get your rounding third merch for the winner and bragging rights, of course. So come back, Jeopardy, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday. Got a pretty good one for you guys on Wednesday. I already got it typed out and mapped out, so going to be awesome. Oh, thank you, Tommy. Appreciate it. Yeah, we come on Sundays and Thursdays at 9 p.m. So, yeah, I mean, baseball is very inconsistent sport, and it's the many reason we love it, and it's the reason it drives us freaking crazy, right? We get both sides of that for sure.
It's the same reason that the better team usually wins a 7-game series, but a 3-game series is a crapshoot.
Yeah.
You just have to get hot at the right time. And that's like the 1-game playoffs, or like the ultimate coin flip.
Oh.
It's crazy because baseball is it's a game of a bad hop can change the entire outcome. A missed call, a bang play. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, don't give up that final question pays. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Captain got it on the final question yet. Okay, Derails thinks he overestimates the Phillies. I mean, the Phillies have always been okay, so he wants to know. For me, the Phillies have always been a great team, a solid team. They just they can't get over that playoff hump. They had the Diamondbacks on the ropes in 2023. They did. That was the Phillies series to win, and they just couldn't put it away. Is that their bullpen? It's definitely not their starting pitching, because they pitched well in that series.
They did.
I don't know. For me, regular season's a crapshoot, right? It's so long. You get so many injuries. All the teams are dealing with adversity. It's all about who's playing the best baseball the last 2 weeks of September into August, for me, anyways. And I don't know if the Phillies just run out of steam because the NL East has been such a gauntlet the last few years, and they just run out of gas. Is that an explanation for it? I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard because I think a lot of it goes back to, the Phillies are a team with a lot of talent, but not a lot of balance. And it's really hard to beat the best teams in the league, night in, night out.
Yeah.
Winning a winning a 7-game series when you've got flaws is tough. You just make it harder.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot of good to what the Phillies have done. There's a lot of good on that roster. But at the end of the day, when you consistently fall short, you've got to look at what you're doing. And they just keep running back the same basic lineup year after year after year that can't get it done.
Yeah.
And it's a combination of you've got guys that maybe aren't the right fit. You've got balance isn't quite there. You've also got guys that have just outright underperformed in big moments for you.
Yeah.
And that happens.
Yeah. Harper can't hit the bomb every single time he's up. But yeah, this year's the year of parity. Every team has had a 5+ game losing streak. I mean, the Yankees just got off one. They just got off a 5-game scoreless streak or something like that. That was crazy.
Brutal.
But Chad, I'm with you here. Still not sure how I feel about the expanded playoffs, but I'm so glad baseball got rid of the 1-game wild card game. Agree there. I agree getting rid of the 1-game wild card. That was, you play 162 only to play your 163rd and a ball bounces off a pebble and you lose 1-0 and your season's over.
Yeah. So, and depending on how you had to line up to get there, you could be running your 5-star route against their ace. Yeah. Because you had to empty the tank just to get there. It was such a crapshoot, and it was exciting. Don't get me wrong. Like, it was the chase was great, and the game was usually chaos.
Yeah.
It's hard to have it all. Baseball is a hard game to play only one.
Yeah. Yeah, understand the Phillies keep running it back, but we have such a good roster to run it back. I mean, it does say something that your team is there every year to, they put themselves in the position to win it. That does say something. But we have a good roster. Our team's too talented, agree. Blows my mind, can't win in the postseason. We're with you. But
yeah, I just, again, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Yeah. This is a good question.
It's not there.
What do you two fellers think about the current baseball trajectory? Like the league as a whole?
Yeah, I'm assuming that question is more like the league as a whole. Like this, what is the state of the union of baseball? I mean, I'll go ahead and answer that question. I think you've got two things right now in baseball that are working against each other. I think the entertainment quality of the game, the entertainment level of the game has gone up. And I think that's brought in more fans and more interest, which I think is good for baseball. I think the quality of the game itself has gone down. And that is frustrating for true fans that want to see a good baseball game. Mm-hmm. You look at the state of pitching. You look at the fact these guys have no windup anymore, max effort, elbow injuries like crazy. That is not good for baseball.
It is a whole show question, but we'll try to keep it short, Captain.
Yeah, you look at the offensive side of baseball. It's less contact, more power. It's the showboating. It's the fact that a lot of these guys are maybe 2-tool players. There's no 5-tool players, or very few of them anymore. I just think the quality of the game has gone down, but it is a faster paced, more entertaining game, which is bringing in more revenue and more fans. And I think it depends on where you fall on that spectrum of, do I want to be entertained or do I want to see a good game?
Yeah. So mine kind of comes with this. Why do you think baseball in the last 5 to 10 years has gone down each year in popularity? Which technically it hasn't. Attendance has
it's
grown.
Actually exploded the last 3 years.
Yeah, it's grown. But honestly, it's the technology era for me, right? Like, baseball is not a very action-packed sport. It's a very, if you will, old-timers game. It's a go out and enjoy it, enjoy the weather, enjoy the game, enjoy the atmosphere. It's very much different than being in an arena or like football, where it's like, I'm going to run it, another human being going the same speed at 150 miles an hour and there's a violent crash, right? Baseball's not like that. There's a little bit more finesse. That doesn't grab a lot of people's attention, right? I mean, people that aren't football fans sit down on Sundays and watch football. It's just they do. The casual fan or casual person doesn't usually go and sit down and watch a game on TV if it's baseball. It's boring. So the last few years, baseball has done a good job of trying to make it more exciting, to put some pizzazz, if you will, into the game by bringing stolen bases back, getting rid of the 4-pitch intentional walk. They are trying to putting the extra runner on second base and the ghost runner on second base in extra innings. So they are doing things to try to mold to the new generation of baseball fans. And I can appreciate that, right? I would like to say I'm a baseball purist, but like I'm not really at the same time, because I do appreciate them trying to change the game to adapt to the culture today. Because the culture is very much like, how many ADD kids does it take to screw in a light bulb, Harrison? Do you want to ride bikes?
Yeah, do you want to ride bikes?
You know, like our culture is just like that. It's like I could be mid conversation with somebody, and then all of a sudden I'm just like, yep. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
It's hard to compete with that. It really is.
It is, and I mean, so MLB is now second in terms of revenue and fans behind the NFL, and the NFL is hard to compete against. I don't watch football myself much because I don't really enjoy football, but I understand the appeal to it. It is a faster pace, more physical. It's got its kind of exciting moments. It's also time limited, so you get the chaos of the clock running down and the late in the games and all that. The NBA is absolutely in the toilet and falling. The NHL is kind of where it's at. But baseball, they have intentionally changed the game to make it more marketable, which I can appreciate. But in that, they've also kind of dumbed down the game. And I saw the comment there about Goose Gossage. Goose Gossage went on an absolute rant.
And I loved every second of it.
About the quality of baseball. And I've been saying it for the last couple of years. I hate these starting pitchers that go out there and pitch out of the stretch. Like, what the hell is that? Like, what happened to the windup? And the problem is that the mechanics are no longer geared towards being able to last. They're geared towards how hard can I throw?
Right.
And it's all that. And Pedro on Baseball Network, on MLB Network, either might have been this week or last week, actually showed kind of the landing stride and the turn. And they were comparing it to, I forget who now. Might have actually been Nola when he went down on the IL, and just showing the physical nature of what they did. And Pedro's like, I was able to do what I did with my small frame because my mechanics were solid, but I wasn't pitching max effort. I could throw harder, but I didn't have to.
Right.
Like, because I knew how to pitch. Right. The problem with most of these guys now is that they're relying strictly on power. And when the mechanics fall apart, which they tend to because you get tired, now you're flailing, and physically you're doing damage you don't even realize you're doing.
Yep. Cap, and this is a good point. Football and basketball are easier for people with no knowledge to follow than baseball. John Temple, this is 1,000% too. Yep. MLB just can't get eyeballs on their product. Now listen, we've talked about this numerous times. 162 times 15 in a 5-month stretch, 6-month stretch is next to impossible to put it all in one spot, right? Yeah. That's a lot of airtime that you're trying to find. So you do have to kind of throw it everywhere versus like football. It's like, okay, you got 6 games at 1 o'clock, 6 games at 4, 1 at 8, 1 on Monday, 1 on Thursday, done. Right. Yep. And they have their entire viewership for the week in 3 days. Baseball can't do that.
Yeah.
They're trying to now, but
the NFL, you're committing to a few hours a week. MLB, you're committing to a few hours a day.
Yeah. It's
a lot.
Yeah. And Chad, I'm with you here. This is going to this is going to be a hard one. If this is a long lockout, you will lose the older generation of fans for sure. They will be completely done. They won't tune in. They'll be toast. I mean, the one we started our podcast in 2021 during the lockout. And we're just like, is baseball going to recover? Luckily, they had 2023 WBC to come in and light a spark, because I think that came at the right time. And then all these young kids came up right after that. This lockout is scary. This could be the longest work stoppage in MLB history. I hate that I have to say that it might be. There's way too much on the table right now for this to be a quick one. I don't see it being a 1 month thing and they've signed a bargaining agreement. It's not going to happen.
They could lose a whole season here. I mean, this is there are major issues that both sides want to address. And I think that both sides are prepared to die on the hills that they've chosen. And that could make for an exceptionally long lockout. I mean, the only nice thing here is at the end of the day, the owners need the players and the players need the owners, because in the end, nobody makes any money if they're not playing. But at the same time, they are going to take this as far as they can.
Yeah. I mean.
Yeah, and I'm with you, John. I think when that CBA comes up in December of 2026, I think that there's a reality that they don't resolve this and we lose most, if not all, the 27 season, which that could potentially spell disaster for the league, because those fans that you brought in will lose interest and move on to something else. Those purists will be pissed and walk away. The old school group will say it's all about greed and be done. And you're going to have a lot of different groups within your fan base that are just throw their hands in the air and say, screw it, I'll watch something else.
Yeah. Listen, Leonardo, I hate that you're not wrong. I hate that you're not wrong with this comment. If you're a Red Sox fan, baseball is dying. I mean,
it's been dying for 6 years.
And then to back that up, Red Sox diehard said Red Sox are in turmoil. 1,000%. Talked about them a little bit earlier. They're tough. It's a tough situation right there. And this is a great point. The MLB is just, they can't get out of their own way. And there is a lot of times we have said that where it's like they need to market their players better. I mean, we see NFL stars, we see NBA stars all over commercials. Rarely do we see baseball players on commercials. I mean, lately, who have we seen? Ohtani on New Balance commercials? Is that it? I don't know if I've seen anybody else.
Shohei everywhere. I think I saw Mike Trout on something, but that's it.
Yeah, they don't market their players. If you put Jose Ramirez up somewhere outside of Cleveland, a handful of people might know who he is. But like if I go and ask, we've said this before, if I go and ask my wife, name me 5 baseball players that are playing right now, she would give me Ohtani. She would probably give me Mike Trout. And then the third name, I don't know. Could she give me another name? I'm not sure.
I don't know. And I do think that a lot of the teams actually do some of that local marketing with their players. You know, they're doing car dealerships and major sponsors and all that. So I think you see some of this on a local level, but MLB is missing the opportunity to expose the superstars to a much larger audience. Because I think what the NFL has done a good job of is that people don't just watch their team. They also watch the game that comes on after it, the game on Monday night, the game on Thursday night, because they want to see those matchups. They want to see those players. And that's the one thing MLB has missed out on is, like, how do you get fans to want to watch more than just their team? Like, your team is off on Monday. Like, how do we get you to turn on a different game? First of all, you got to be able to see it. And that's an issue MLB has had in terms of TV coverage, which MLB TV is great, but it's a script.
Yeah.
But B, are you gonna put on if you're a Red Sox fan, are you gonna put on the Phillies and Mets game? Or do you not really know some of those players and you're like, well, I'm not gonna bother?
Yeah. Yeah, last time I asked my wife, she gave me Jeter and Poppy. Right, but they don't play anymore. They did a better job back then marketing their guys than they do today, I believe.
Well, and I think winning helps too. I think when you're on the cover of Sports Illustrated and you've got a World Series and you're getting to say you're going to Disney World and all that fun stuff, like I think that helps. And I think your championship teams get that kind of respect.
So Arnold, this is my point though, right? I mean, yes, we all know who Aaron Judge is, but his pictures are on the corner in the Bronx. That makes sense. But like, if I put Aaron Judge out in Wyoming, are they going to know who Aaron Judge is? I don't know. Would they? Yeah,
like why is Aaron Judge not the guy selling the Core Power protein shakes across the country? Right. Why is there not a Lunchables pack with his face on it? So kids are like, "Oh man, I got the Aaron Judge Lunchable." It's finding ways to get these guys in front of a larger audience.
Yeah, I agree, but yeah, and we do need to start the fan union for sure. We have a lot of ideas in this chat. The fan union is.
Let's start the revolution. Yeah. Viva la revolution.
Yeah, and Tommy, I'm with you. I watch every team as well. Diehard Red Sox fans, but I'll watch the Yankees when they're on, right? And that might be sacrilege in Red Sox Nation, but I will. I'll watch Yankees baseball. I watch Dodgers baseball. I watch everybody. I have MLB TV. I got 4 screens on my computer. I'm watching it on my TV. I on my phone. Like I got 6 games going at once.
I go on MLB TV, find a great matchup, and watch it. I don't care.
Yeah. But that's the difference is there's not a lot of people like that. Are there a select handful? Yeah, absolutely 100%. But to Harrison's point, NFL Sunday, like it's more of an event than it is watching the game. Like you go hang out with your buddies, have a couple beers, watch the game, go home, take a nap, go to work Monday.
People put out this big food spread. They're preparing for it on Saturday. I mean, I've got so many friends where like they're doing grocery shopping on Saturday to get everything ready for Sunday because they got to have wings and all these things prepared so they've got all this food and beer ready for the game because they're going to watch the 1 o'clock and the 4 o'clock and the 8 o'clock. Yeah. They're going to be in front of the TV for 12 hours watching pregame, postgame, the games. And like I look at that and go, no thanks. Like I'd rather do anything else but that.
Uncle Ted, this is a great point. Fantasy football made the NFL explode. I agree with that fully.
The only reason I follow the NFL at all is because I'm in a couple of fantasy football leagues.
Yeah.
I don't watch the games, but I'm checking the ESPN app for scores and all that. Absolutely.
Yep. Do you think the MLB will implement a salary cap and floor? I'm hoping at least they do the floor. I think the floor solves a lot more issues than the cap does. That's just me.
Yeah, I think
it makes the lower market teams spend more to make them more competitive, which will in turn essentially balance out the competitiveness at the top.
Yeah, I do think the floor solves a lot of problems. I think the other big issue is the deferred money situation.
Yes, agree.
I think even more so than a salary cap. I think if you can just get the rules on deferred money to make sense, then I think that changes things a lot. I'm a firm believer that the system they have in place now with the luxury tax is more effective because you've actually got to pay your opponents to overspend.
Right.
And I actually like that because the money doesn't you don't just get stopped. You want to spend the money. But now you're going to pay a tax on that goes to all your opponents to subsidize their payroll. That to me hurts a little bit more as an owner to write that check than it does to just be told I can't spend the money. Then it's like, well, then I'm just not going to sign that guy. Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think you've got to make the deferred money make sense. You cannot have Shohei Ohtani defer $68 million a year and have him only count $43 million against your cap. It's a $70 million contract. It's a $70 million cap hit. Should be that simple.
Yep, I agree. I love all sports. I'm the guy at 2 a.m. watching table tennis during the Olympics. For me, John, it's curling, but that's just me. I'll say so. Diehards with me think it should be the floor, but no cap. I agree. I think it should be the floor with the luxury tax. I'm with you, Harrison, for sure.
Yeah,
And
I think the
deferred money
luxury
has-
tax. I think the luxury tax is a better way to handle it, but you have to get the deferred money right.
Yes, agree. It has to count towards your team's payroll. It has to.
Yeah.
Like Shohei should count 70 million every year. No ends, ifs, ands, or
Yeah.
buts.
I don't care that it's going to get paid out in 20 years. Like
Right.
10 over 70 is $70 million a year. You can
Yeah.
pay him in the year 3000. I don't care. It should count.
Yeah.
I don't care. It could be his great grandkids picking up that check.
Yeah.
Curling.
Yeah. 100% curling captains with me. Yeah. Chad, I'm iffy on the floor. Instead of getting better players, bad teams will just overspend on players who are not worth it.
I mean, I could see a situation where a team would say, well, we got to get over this number, so we'll throw a little more money at this guy to close the gap. But
Pirates.
I don't think I don't think teams will openly overspend on bad players. I think it's going to force them to go and actually build a better roster. And I agree, Uncle Ted. I agree with your comment that a luxury tax, it can make bad teams stay bad. But if you match a luxury tax with a floor where teams have to be at a certain threshold, then I think you correct that issue where luxury tax now begins to just help them subsidize their payroll for the teams that overspend, but they can't sit there and do nothing. And that was like the A's. The A's had to go and spend because they weren't even getting all their revenue share because they hadn't hit the threshold they needed to be at to get it.
Right.
And that was a big reason why the A's made some of the signings they made. Plus, they wanted to be more competitive, but there was an incentive for them to actually go spend some money.
No, Cap, and this is the Spokane Indians hat. This is the single A of the Rockies. So we had Grant Levine on when we first started the podcast. He was at single A at the time, then went up to double A, played in Hartford for a year. And then I think he's a free agent right now. So yeah, we've said this before. This could be a segment, Guess Nick's hat for sure. But yeah. Deferred money being reeled in and having max contracts like the NBA is another way to go. So they have max contracts and super max, and only certain players, you can only have a certain amount of super max contracts on each team. I mean, it's tough because baseball does have enough parity in its game alone. You still have to go out and win the game. Right? You can build a super team like the Dodgers and still be 500.
I have a tough time applying anything from the NBA because their rosters are so small.
So small. Mm-hmm.
And it's hard when you've got to get 26 guys on that roster. Plus you got the 40-man roster. Those guys are all counting and sitting in AAA. I think the NBA did that to prevent the super team crazy concept the best they could, which didn't work. I just think MLB, you're gonna have to let those contracts float, only because to have to commit that kind of money to so many players, I don't know how that would work with a roster of 26 and a extended roster of 40.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But at the same time, MLB salaries have gone up the last basically forever. Every year they go up, they trend up. Yeah. Which I know makes the Players Association happy, but they always want more.
Yeah. Unpopular opinion, I don't like the DH and the pitch clock. I don't mind the universal DH. I think the pitch clock is the reason for the amount of injuries. I think is they're made to fire bullets faster than they ever had to have been. Plus, the max velocity is just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
As far as the speed of the game, I love the pitch clock. I'm kind of with Red Sox here, but yeah, I think that has contributed to injuries. Is the amount of time between pitches that they have to ramp up And then the max velocity stuff has kind of been the perfect storm. It's not good, but we should call ourselves the sliding home fan union.
I don't like the universal DH, and I didn't like it when they brought it out. I liked the National League and the American League being different. I liked seeing pitchers hit and seeing teams have to build lineups around that. I miss the days of Tony La Russa having the pitcher bat 7th or 8th because he didn't want them to bat 9th, and he wanted to have the second leadoff guy and the strategy to that. So I'm not a big fan of universal DH. I did not like the pitch clock at first. I've come around to appreciating what it does, but it did dramatically change the game. Stolen bases are much, much easier because of the pitch clock. I do think that pitchers are having to work faster than they're prepared to in some cases. That causes injury. I see the downsides to the pitch clock, so I don't love the pitch clock. I do appreciate what it does, though.
Yeah, agree. All right. Well, I think we're going to call it a night, fellas. You guys were incredible in the chat here, carrying us through the last half of this show. So thank you so much.
2 hours strong.
Yeah, absolutely. So coming up, we have our week 3 of our Jeopardy Trivia League Wednesday night at 9. It's been absolutely fun. So even if you don't want to play along, and try to win, it's still a great watch. If you love baseball trivia, we put a lot of work into it. It's a lot of fun. It's a blast. And then Thursday night, we'll be
test
back
your knowledge.
Exactly. And then Thursday night at 9 p.m., we'll be back on to talk about this week's series. So again, thank you guys so much. Appreciate the new guys. And Tommy, thank God you're not a John, because this podcast is full of them. So, but again, a shout out to everybody. You guys are incredible week after week, episode after episode, and you guys are the reason we do this. So absolutely love it. We will see you Wednesday night. If not, Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard.